Welcome to Reread. We are on book 1 of the Young Jedi Knights series by Kevin J. Anderson and Rebecca Muesta. It's called Heirs to the Force, and it is excellent. So much fun. This is basically just the introductory book. It's Jason and Jaina, and Lobaka is introduced to them. Tenel Ka is introduced to us. And it's kind of funny because now that I've already read this, reading it a second time, all I can think about is what's going to happen to these characters, right? Tenel Ka, spoilers, is eventually going to lose her arm. She still has both arms. It's so weird to hear her, using both of her arms in this story. But we know that her mother's going to get killed off too soon, and she's going to have to rise to power as the queen of her people. We know that Lobaka is going to be betrayed by some of his closest friends as they give him a memory wipe later on. And of course, we know what happens to Jason and Jaina, but it's kind of wild just seeing them as is right now. MD is introduced. He has the voice of C-3PO, and he is fluent in over 6 forms of communication, which I think is great. It is kind of odd that not many people can understand Wookiee at the Jedi Academy, but that's okay. Luke is gone at this point when they really need him. But either way, he needs a translator, which I'm fine with. But you think the kids would have picked up some Wookiee over the years. That's my only little nitpick of it. And I never thought about this until before, but with growing up around Chewbacca, yeah, they probably would have been able to understand Wookiee a little bit better, right? I would think so. But either way, we need a translator droid so that Kevin J. Anderson can have Lobaka give dialogue as well instead of just roar. So I get the reason why it's there, but it is kind of weird that Jason and Jaina do not understand Wookiee. Raynor, who is the class bully, he's the snob and everything, is introduced. And the thing is, you want to dislike him, right? Because he's the bully. But now that I've read New Jedi Order and the Darkness trilogy and Legacy of the Force and all these other things, I feel bad for them. These were the good old days, the golden ages of all these kids. And that just goes as a testament to tell you, when you're rereading this, these stories mean so much. There's some kind of childhood innocence here. Like the big crisis is, Lobaka gets it's not a T-16 Skyhopper, like T-23 Skyhopper, as a going away present. He fixes it up, flies over the sky, sees a glint in the forest, circles back around with his friends, Jaina, Jason, and Tenel Ka, and they find it's a downed TIE fighter from way back in the day during the Battle of Yavin, during the first Death Star and everything. They eventually work to fix it, where we find the TIE fighter pilot Quirrell is there. Now remember, Kevin J. Anderson said, this is the TIE fighter pilot that was in the Marvel comic books. They got left there. And you're like, oh, that's so cool that he made that connection. Because the first time I read it, I didn't get the connection. But rereading it now, unless Quirrell is a liar, which could be the case, that is not the pilot from Marvel, from the Marvel comic books, because he says he got shot down over the battle during the Death Star and crashed, and he doesn't mention that he went toe-to-toe with an X-Wing. I mean, obviously an X-Wing shot him down, but this was the day after the Death Star. Remember, that was the comic book, the day after the Death Star, when he shoots down that rogue TIE fighter pilot. Quirrell says this happened during the attack on the Death Star. Now, you could say this, well, he misremembered because it was over 20 years ago. Or he's lying to them. Either way, I'm fine with that, and I still like the connection from Marvel comic books, but the book kind of makes it hard for that to happen. Also, one very awkward thing is that the Hand of Thrawn duology had not come out at this time, so peace between the Empire and the Republic was not around. Well, chronologically, this takes place even after the marriage of Mara Jade and Luke. Sure, Mara Jade's not mentioned in the whole series. She's not mentioned as being married to Luke or Luke being married at all, but that's because Kevin J. Anderson said he knew that Zahn was going to make that happen. He just couldn't spoil the surprise. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. That Mara's not in it doesn't hurt me. I mean, Mara could be going off doing her own thing while Luke's training the kids. But, oh no! It may be a little bit of a contradiction because when they find out it's the Empire, like, oh no, the Empire. And actually, when Quirrell captures the twins, Tenel Ka escapes but is on the run from a bunch of jungle animals. Lobaka escapes too, but he drops MD, who has a hilarious little mini chapter where he gets snuggled up with a Woolamander, grabs him and snuggles up with him in a tree. He's just sitting there with the lights, with his sights on looking, going, oh dear. He wants to scream, but he doesn't want to wake up the Woolamanders. It's great. It's great stuff. That was a fun chapter to read. But anyway, when Lobaka gets there, no one, Tyone or anyone, doesn't speak Wookiee, and he lost his translator droid. So then he decides to call Han Solo and speak to Chewbacca, who does understand Wookiee, and then tells them, oh, okay, so the kids are stuck, wait, Jason and Jan are down a well? No, not like that. They've fallen in a hole and they can't get up. No, when Han Solo finds that out, he turns back around. They've already set up a later book about Lando Calrissian's business, mining gems. But anyway, he's helping Lando with something, and now they're going back. They're shooting through hyperspace. They can be there in 2 hours in the middle of the night to go rescue the kids in time, the twins in time while they're out in the jungle. Anyway, so Tony's scared because, oh no, the Empire, and the Empire doesn't want Jedi being on here. I bet they're going to attack us. The Empire is seen as the enemy. In fact, Jason and Jane are saying, the Empire, oh no, they're the sworn enemies of the... Well, no, because by this time, there's been a peace treaty between them. So then my question became, okay, so can we back this up in the chronology? And should we? I don't think it will hurt to back this up. Remember, even in, I think it's Survivor's Quest, or maybe the end of the Hand of Throne trilogy, Luke even says he's going to take some time spending away from the Academy, and he's going to do other things. So, I don't know. Would he have still been there for so long during the Young Jedi Knights? I mean, he could have. But I'm just saying, maybe it makes sense to move this up right before the Hand of Throne duology. I don't know. I'll have to look into that to see if there's any contradictions. I'm keeping it here for now. And then, I'm reading a little bit further to see maybe I can do a break in between as the kids take a break in between. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do this. But it is kind of awkward that since there's peace between them, and Luke insists that there's peace and that Jedi acknowledge that the Empire and Republic are friends. Well, Tioni doesn't acknowledge that, neither do any of the other Jedi Knights at the temple, because they're all scared the Empire may be coming to hunt them down. Why, if you're at peace? I mean, it could be a rogue faction, but they didn't say that. Either way, I mean, like I said, it's not technically a contradiction, at least in my mind at least. But, and of course, the Hand of Throne duology hadn't come out yet. Timothy Zahn just cares about Timothy Zahn. He doesn't care anything about what Kevin J. Anderson wrote. But as book one goes, it's, oh, and by the way, Quirrell gets away. He hops in the TIE Fighter, which has a hyperdrive unit, because Jaina installed a hyperdrive that Han had given her, a broken hyperdrive, and she put it in the TIE Fighter vehicle. And so Quirrell jumps to hyperspace. Now, we'll find out what happens to him later, but the kids make it back safe, and it's their first introductory beginning adventure. I'm fine with this. I love this book. I can't wait to read the other ones. I know why so many people, I kind of call this the second great awakening for EU fans. The first one being Timothy Zahn's book, but I think Young Jedi Knights introduced a whole new generation into the EU. All right, anyway, that's it for now. See you next time.